guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a collab. This is a natural makeup look with a beautiful Mimi Bonny. Her YouTube channel is Eat Not Diet. I will leave the link down below. If you guys want to see how I came out with this look, then keep on watching. We're gonna start with the eyes, and I'm going to be using this NYX eyeshadow base. It's one of my favorite ones. This is in the shade Neutral. I love this because it does neutralizes the entire lid, if you know what I mean. I love this. It's such a staple for my kids and also for myself. I'm applying this all over the lid. This is gonna be perfect just to make sure that the eyeshadows have something to stick to, and it's gonna be long lasting. Then I'm gonna go ahead and use powder just to set the eyeshadow base. In this case, I'm using my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm using the peachy shade. As you guys see by the title of this tutorial, this is more of a simple natural makeup look. So I'm gonna use first this Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette that just came out recently. I'm using a transition color. This one is called Burnt Orange. It's a nice matte eyeshadow, and I'm applying it on the outer part of the eye onto the crease. And I did ask her for her to look straight so I can see where her crease is at. That's a good trick for those of you that don't have a crease. That's a good way to find out where your crease is at. Moving along to the eyelid, I'm going to use another matte brown eyeshadow. This one is called Rose Sienna from the same Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette, and I'm using a Wet n Wild flat shaded brush. It's very affordable. You can find it on your local drugstore. Now we're gonna make sure that we highlight the brow bone. I'm going back again with my Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, and I'm using the shade that is called Tempera. It's more of a matte champagne shade. Now we're gonna move on to the brows, and as you can see, I'm using a spoolie. This one is from the NYX micro brow pencil in the shade Chocolate. I like it because it has a pencil and the spoolie on the other side, so I'm going to fill them in. And then I'm gonna use powder, which this one comes from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pro palette in the shade Soft Brown, just to give it a little bit of softness. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use a clear brow gel. This one is from e.l.f. and it's only $1. Concealer, I'm using the Makeup Forever Full Coverage Concealer. I don't know the shade of it, but I'm using my Morphe M428. It's a dual fiber brush. I like to apply this on the under eye along with other areas that need a little more extra coverage. For foundation, I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Cover Stick Foundation. This is in the shade Y365. Also, it's called Desert. I love this sucker because if you don't have a concealer, this is a concealer and a foundation all in one. What I do sometimes is I'm using, in this case, a Pure Cosmetics Beauty Blender, and I'm actually gonna dip into the Cover Stick Foundation, and I just add on these areas that I feel like, you know, needs a little bit more coverage, and it is amazing. To set the concealer, I'm going to use my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I'm using two shades. The first one is more of a banana yellow shade. It's called Lyric. And also I'm going to use this peachy shade, what is called Lucid. I love this palette and these powders to really brighten up the face, because you can see that I'm really focusing on those areas. And also I like the fact that I have very full coverage. To set the foundation, I'm using the Morphe Setting Powder Foundation, and it's called 06F. I'm really pressing onto the face. I'm not doing any swirling motions, just because I really want to make sure that it's matte and it gives a little more coverage. To contour the face, I'm using this Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Collection Face Palette. I'm actually going to use a mineral blush from this palette to contour her face. The color that I'm using is called Amaretto. It's such a pretty color, and the pigmentation, it's amazing, just to give it a little bit more warmth on her face. For blush, I'm using the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Collection Face Palette, and I'm using the two blushes. The first one is called Rose Spritz. It's more of a luminous blush, and then I'm using another one that it's called, oh my god, I'm chopping it, pamplemousee. I will leave the name down below. I'm sorry, guys. For highlighting, I'm using the Balm the Luminizing Collection palette. I am using Mary Luminizer. You can find it by itself. I wanted to give a little highlight, not too much, because I know she has a little oily skin and also the lights were not helping, but I wanted her to have a little glow. For lashes, I'm going to apply some mascara. This is the L'Oreal Carbon Mascara. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some false lashes. This kind of reminds me of the Ardell Demi lashes. This is actually from Sephora, but it gives like a nice natural look, and it really opens up the eye. Here I'm just touching up with the Becca Jaclyn Hill blush. This one is called Amaretto, just to give her a little bit more warmth on her face. Moving on to lips, I'm using this NYX retractable lip liner. This is in the shade Natural. And also I use this Revlon Color Burst Matte Balm. This is in the number 230. It didn't show on camera, but it's more of a natural peachy shade color for the lips. I wanted to add a little bit more gloss and make sure those lips are plump. So I used the Maybelline Lip Gloss Palette. I don't know the name of it, but I'm using the third shade from the left hand side. I'm going back again just to brighten up the face a little bit more with my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. And the shade that I'm using is Light, which is more of that banana shade. Last minute thing, I decided to use the ABH palette. I'm using the two eyeshadows that I used on the crease, which was Raw Sienna and Burnt Orange on the lower lash line. Lastly, I'm going to go back with the ABH palette and I'm going to be using a pink champagne shimmery eyeshadow that is called Beautybymariela. I don't know if I'm saying it right or wrong, but I will leave it down below just to highlight the inner corner of the eye. To seal the entire look, I'm going to spray the MAC Fix Plus. For the hair, I wanted to keep it very simple. First, I'm brushing the hair in case there's any like tangle knots and whatnot. Then I'm going to go ahead and use a ceramic flat iron. I love this because not only it smooths your hair, but also it does use as a curling iron, which I really liked. I only focus on the bottom part of her hair and kind of weigh them away from her face just to give her a little bit more volume. That day was very sticky and humid and I just didn't want her hair to be so flat and have no life whatsoever. So that really gave her some body, and then I went ahead and I used my Tresemme spray just to seal everything and make sure everything stays in place. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the other two looks. This is 1 out of 3 looks. Don't forget to check out Mimi's channel's Eat Not Diet, and until next time, I will see you on my next video. Mwah! Besitos. Bye.